Jake Morrison stared at the glowing screens in front of him. The coffee in his cup had gone cold hours ago, but he did not notice. His job was to watch for signals from deep space, and most nights nothing happened. Tonight felt different. "Jake, are you seeing this?" Lisa Grant called from her station across the room. Her voice was tight with worry. Jake looked at his partner's screen. Numbers were flashing red. The gravity sensors were going crazy. Something big was moving near the edge of their solar system. "That can't be right," Jake said. He ran the numbers, again. The computer kept showing the same impossible result. Whatever was out there was massive, bigger than anything humans had ever built. Lisa's hands flew over her keyboard. "I'm getting readings from all over the outer system. Jake, there are hundreds of them." Jake felt his stomach drop. He reached for the red phone on his desk. This was the direct line to Earth Defense Command. He had never used it before. "Admiral Blake's office," a voice answered. "This is Lieutenant Commander Morrison at New Horizons Station. We have a situation, sir. We're detecting massive objects near Neptune's orbit." The line went quiet for a moment. "How massive, Commander?" Jake looked at the numbers again. He could hardly believe them himself. "Sir, we count over 300 objects. Each one is at least 10 times larger than our biggest ships. Send all data to Earth Defense Command immediately. Do not broadcast this on normal channels." The line went dead. Jake and Lisa worked quickly to send their readings to Earth. Outside the station's windows, space looked the same as always. Stars twinkled in the darkness. But Jake knew that somewhere out there, something huge was moving toward them. On Earth, Admiral Kevin Blake stood in the command center deep under the Rocky Mountains. The data from New Horizons Station covered the main screen. Officers rushed around him, their voices mixing into a low buzz of panic. "Sir, we've confirmed the readings," Captain Amy Rodriguez said. She had commanded the USS Defiance for 3 years. It was Earth's most powerful warship. Looking at the alien ships on the screen, she knew it would not be enough. "How many ships do we have ready for action?" Blake asked. Rodriguez checked her tablet. 47 combat vessels, sir. The Defiance can be ready in 2 hours. The rest of the fleet can launch within 6 hours. Blake stared at the screen. 300 alien ships against 47 human ships. The math was simple and terrible. "Get me the president," he said. Dr. Nathan Cole was having dinner with his wife when his phone rang. He saw the caller ID and knew his quiet evening was over. Only Earth Defense Command had this number. "Dr. Cole, we need you at the lab immediately," the voice said. "We have visitors." Nathan grabbed his coat and kissed his wife goodbye. "I'll call you when I can," he said. She had been married to a scientist long enough to know what that meant. At the research center, Nathan found his team already working. Dr. Maria Santos looked up from her computer as he walked in. "Nathan, you need to see this," she said. "The energy readings are unlike anything in our database. These ships use technology we don't understand." Nathan studied the data. The alien vessels gave off energy in patterns no human machine could make. Their hulls seemed to bend space itself. Most disturbing of all, they moved in perfect formation, as if controlled by a single mind. "How long until they reach Earth?" Nathan asked. Maria checked her calculations. "At their current speed, about 18 hours. High above Earth, Captain Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the USS Defiance. Her crew worked quietly around her. Everyone knew the situation. Everyone knew the odds. "Captain, we're receiving new orders," her communications officer said. Rodriguez read the message on her screen. All human ships were to form a defensive line between Earth and the incoming aliens. They were ordered to attempt first contact, and if that failed, to fight. "Set course for the outer defense perimeter," Rodriguez ordered. "And send a message to all ships. Tell them to say goodbye to their families." The Defiance moved away from Earth, followed by 46 other ships. They were all that stood between humanity and the unknown. Back on New Horizons Station, Jake watched his screens as the alien fleet continued its approach. The ships moved without any change in speed or direction. They seemed to know exactly where they were going. "Jake," Lisa said quietly, "I'm trying to send them a message." Basic math, pictures, anything to let them know we're here. Jake nodded. Every few minutes, Lisa broadcast another signal toward the alien fleet. Simple patterns of numbers, pictures showing the solar system, even music from Earth. The aliens did not respond to any of it. Hours passed. The alien ships kept coming. On Earth, people looked up at the night sky, not knowing that their world was about to change forever. In the command center, Admiral Blake watched as his small fleet took position. Captain Rodriguez and her ships looked tiny compared to the approaching aliens, but they were brave. They would fight even though they could not win. Dr. Cole worked through the night trying to understand what was coming. The alien ships used technology that seemed to break the laws of physics. Their energy readings suggested power sources beyond human understanding. As dawn broke over Earth, the alien fleet entered the inner solar system. They had maintained radio silence throughout their approach. Now they were close enough that Earth's telescopes could see them clearly. The alien ships were beautiful and terrible. Their hulls curved in impossible ways. Light seemed to bend around them. They moved through space like silver fish through dark water. Jake Morrison had not slept all night. He watched his screens as the aliens approached Mars. Soon they would be close enough to communicate directly with Earth. Lisa, he said, keep trying to contact them. Maybe they'll answer now. Lisa sent another message toward the alien fleet. This time, something was different. The ships at the front of the formation slowed down slightly. Then Jake's screen lit, up with an incoming signal. After hours of silence, the aliens were finally ready to talk. The message was simple and clear. It would change everything humans thought they knew about their place in the universe. The alien message came through clearly. Jake Morrison heard it first at New Horizon Station. The voice was cold and mechanical, like a computer trying to sound human. People of Earth, you will listen. You will obey. Jake's hands shook as he recorded the transmission. Lisa Grant sat frozen at her station. They had waited hours for the aliens to speak. Now they wished they had stayed silent. We are the hegemony. We have come to your world as we have come to 47 others. You have 36 hours to surrender completely. If you refuse, we will destroy every living thing on your planet. The message repeated 3 times, then stopped. Jake immediately sent the recording to Earth Defense Command. Within minutes, alarms were ringing in command centers around the world. President Helen Carter sat at the head of a long table in the White House Situation Room. World leaders appeared on screens around her. Their faces showed the same mix of fear and anger that she felt. The message is clear, she said. They want total surrender. No negotiation, no compromise. The British Prime Minister leaned forward, on his screen. What do we know about this hegemony? Admiral Blake stood up. Our scientists are working on that now. But the important thing is their fleet. 300 ships, each one bigger and more powerful than anything we have. General Marcus Webb, chairman of the Joint Chiefs, pulled up military data on the main screen. We've run every possible battle scenario. Our entire space fleet couldn't damage even one of their ships. Their technology is centuries ahead of ours. President Carter looked around the room. So you're saying we should surrender? I'm saying, we can't win a direct fight, Webb replied, but maybe we can buy time, get our people to safety somehow. On the USS Defiance, Captain Rodriguez studied the alien ships through her telescope. Up close, they were even more impressive and frightening. The hulls seemed to shift and change as she watched. The energy readings made her instruments go crazy. Captain, her tactical officer, Commander Steve Palmer, said, I've been looking at our weapons. Even if we used every missile and energy blast we have, it wouldn't scratch their paint. Rodriguez nodded. She had reached the same conclusion. But we're not going to run away. Earth is behind us. Palmer smiled grimly. I wouldn't expect anything else, Captain. At the research center, Dr. Nathan Cole worked with his team to understand the alien transmission. They had more than just words to study. The signal itself contained layers of information. Maria, look at this, he called to Dr. Santos. The transmission isn't coming from just one source. It's like dozens of different voices speaking as one. Maria studied the data. You're right. And look at these patterns. Some of them match languages we know, but others are completely alien. Nathan felt a chill run down his spine. What if the hegemony isn't just one species? What if they're a collection of different races? Dr. Santos pulled up more data. If that's true, then the 47 worlds they mentioned, those might be the species they've conquered and absorbed. The implications hit Nathan like a physical blow. The hegemony wasn't just conquering worlds. They were taking over entire civilizations and making them part of their collective. Back in the White House, President Carter received updates every few minutes. The alien fleet had stopped just outside Mars orbit. They seemed to be waiting for humanity's response. Madam President, General Webb said, we need to start evacuation procedures. At least get our children to safety. Where? Carter asked. They have 300 ships. They can follow our evacuation vessels anywhere in the solar system. Admiral Blake stepped forward. Captain Rodriguez has a plan. It's not much, but it might give us options. On the Defiance, Rodriguez explained her idea to her senior officers. We use the asteroid mining stations. They have massive explosive charges for breaking up rocks. We could turn them into weapons. Commander Palmer shook his head. Captain, those mining charges were never designed for combat. They're slow and easy to avoid. True, Rodriguez said. But the aliens don't know that, and we have something else they might not expect. She pulled up a display showing Earth's orbital manufacturing stations. These facilities build our ships. They also have industrial lasers, construction robots, and fabrication equipment. None of it was meant for war, but desperate times. Palmer began to understand. You want to turn our entire orbital infrastructure into a weapon? Exactly. It won't stop them, but it might surprise them. And any surprise is better than just sitting here waiting to die. At New Horizon Station, Jake Morrison noticed something strange. The alien ships were scanning Earth, but not the way he expected. Lisa, are you seeing this? He called. Lisa checked her instruments. They're not looking for military targets. They're mapping population centers. Jake felt sick. They're not planning to fight us. They're planning to harvest us. The data was clear. The alien scanners were focused on cities, towns, and anywhere humans lived in large groups. It was like they had done this before and knew exactly what to look for. Meanwhile, Captain Patricia Hayes commanded the science vessel, Aurora. Her ship was smaller than the Defiance, but it had the best sensors in the human fleet. What she discovered made her blood run cold, Commander, she told her first officer. The alien ships aren't just scanning for people. They're analyzing our biology, our technology, our communications. It's like they're preparing to absorb our entire civilization. Her first officer studied the readings. Captain, how many times do you think they've done this before? Hayes thought about the 47 worlds the aliens had mentioned. Too many times. Way too many. As the hours passed, the situation became clearer and more hopeless. The hegemony wasn't just an invading army. They were a collective consciousness that absorbed other species and made them part of their group mind. President Carter made the hardest decision of her life. She opened a communication channel to the alien fleet. This is President Carter of Earth. We have received your message. We request time to consider your terms. The response came quickly. You have 36 hours. This time cannot be extended. Surrender completely or face extinction. There is no third option. The line went dead. Carter looked around the situation room at the faces of her advisors. They all knew the truth. Humanity had less than a day and a half to find a miracle. Admiral Blake coordinated with Captain Rodriguez and the other ship commanders. They would use their remaining time to prepare the best defense they could manage. It wouldn't be enough, but they had to try. Dr. Cole and his team worked frantically to understand more about the hegemony. Every piece of information might help find a weakness. As Earth's sun set on what might be humanity's last day of freedom, people around the world looked up at the sky. Most didn't know about the alien ultimatum yet. They still believed their governments and military could protect them. Only a few hundred people knew the truth. In 36 hours, humanity would either surrender everything they were or die fighting for the right to remain free. The countdown to humanity's darkest hour had begun. 20 hours remained when the first alien ships moved toward Mars. Captain Rodriguez watched them from the bridge of the USS Defiance. The enemy vessels glided through space like deadly sharks. All ships, this is Rodriguez. We engage the enemy advance guard in 30 minutes. Remember, we're not trying to win. We're trying to learn. The human fleet spread out in a loose formation. 47 ships against 12 alien vessels. Even with better odds, Rodriguez knew her fleet was outmatched. Captain Tony Mitchell commanded the USS Wolverine, Earth's second-largest warship. He opened a channel to Rodriguez. "Amy, my crew is ready. We'll follow your lead to hell if we have to." Commander Beth Clark led the destroyer squadron in her ship the Falcon. Her voice came over the radio next. "Captain Rodriguez, destroyers are in position. We'll hit them fast and hard." Rodriguez felt proud of her fellow captains. They all knew this was probably a suicide mission. They were doing it anyway. The alien ships noticed the human fleet approaching. They didn't change course or speed. They acted like the humans weren't even worth worrying about. "Fire all missiles," Rodriguez ordered. Hundreds of missiles streaked toward the alien ships. The humans watched their screens as the weapons closed in on their targets. For a moment, hope flickered in their hearts. Then the alien shields activated. The missiles exploded harmlessly against barriers of pure energy. Not one weapon got through. The aliens responded with their own weapons. Beams of red light reached out and touched human ships. Where the beams hit, metal turned to vapor. The destroyer Hawk simply disappeared in a flash of light. 23 crew members died in an instant. Commander Clark's voice crackled over the radio. "Hawk is gone. Continuing attack." More alien beams swept across space. The cruiser Denver broke in half. The Wolverine lost its engine section but kept fighting with its remaining weapons. Rodriguez gritted her teeth as she watched her friends die. But something strange was happening. Each time a human ship was destroyed, its crew managed to send data back to Earth before dying. The Defiance shook as an alien beam grazed its hull. Rodriguez looked at her tactical display. They had lost 8 ships in 5 minutes. But her screens were full of information about alien weapons, shields, and movement patterns. "All ships, continue transmitting tactical data," she ordered. Their victory cost them something. Captain Mitchell's voice came through static. "Rodriguez, the Wolverine is finished, but I'm sending you something important. These aliens are learning from us too fast. Every move we make, they counter it perfectly the next time." Rodriguez thought about Mitchell's words as the Wolverine exploded in a ball of fire. The aliens were indeed adapting to human tactics at an impossible speed. It was like they had a computer that could predict every human strategy. Meanwhile, on Earth, Dr. Nathan Cole studied the battle data as it came. His partner Dr. Alex Turner worked beside him, analyzing the alien response patterns. "Nathan, look at this," Turner said, pointing at his screen. "The aliens aren't just adapting to our tactics. They're sharing that information instantly across their entire fleet." Cole studied the data streams. "It's like they have one shared brain. When one ship learns something, they all know it immediately." Dr. Santos joined them at the main display. "But that means they're also revealing how their systems work. Every time they adapt, they show us more about their technology." Cole felt a spark of hope. They're so confident in their superiority that they're not bothering to hide their capabilities. Back in space, Rodriguez made a desperate decision. She ordered the remaining human ships to scatter and attack from different directions. It was a basic tactic that shouldn't work against superior forces. But something unexpected happened. The alien ships hesitated for a few seconds. Their perfect coordination wavered as they tried to process multiple threats at once. "All ships, did you see that?" Rodriguez called out. They paused, hit them again with random attacks. The human ships fired missiles in wild patterns. They changed direction without warning. They broadcast false radio signals and fake distress calls. None of it should have confused such advanced aliens, yet the alien response time kept getting slower. Their perfect formation began to look less perfect. Commander Steve Palmer, Rodriguez's tactical officer, noticed something else. "Captain, they're processing too much information. Every piece of data we send is making their decision time longer." Rodriguez began to understand. The aliens' shared consciousness was their strength, but it might also be their weakness. They couldn't filter out useless information fast enough. On Earth, Lieutenant Commander Jake Morrison coordinated the defense from the command center. He had been moved from New Horizons Station to help track the battle. What he saw gave him an idea. "Admiral Blake," he called out, "the aliens are recording everything we do. What if we gave them too much to record?" Blake looked at Morrison with interest. "Explain." "Every human ship that dies sends data back to Earth, but the aliens intercept that data too. They're analyzing every piece of information we produce. What if we produced information that would hurt them instead of help them?" Dr. Cole overheard the conversation from across the room. "Jake's right. Their shared consciousness processes all incoming data. If we could corrupt that data somehow." Admiral Blake's eyes lit up. "You're talking about an information weapon." Meanwhile, Captain Gary Foster was leading the civilian evacuation effort. His ships were loading refugees from the outer colonies, but his partner, Commander Rachel Stone, had discovered something important. "Gary, some of these civilian ships aren't really civilian," Stone said. "They're carrying Dr. Cole's secret project." Foster looked at the ship manifests. Several vessels listed as refugee transports were actually loaded with modified mining equipment and experimental weapons. "What kind of secret project?" Foster asked. Stone pulled up classified files on her tablet. 3 years ago, an alien probe crashed in the Pacific Ocean. Instead of announcing it, a secret team reverse-engineered the technology. Foster whistled low. "We've had alien tech for 3 years? Not much and not very advanced. But Dr. Cole's team learned some things about how alien systems process information. Back in the battle near Mars, Rodriguez had lost half her fleet. But the remaining ships were fighting smarter, not harder. They were flooding the alien communication channels with random data, false coordinates, and impossible tactical reports. The alien ships were still winning, but they were taking longer to make decisions. Their movements became less coordinated. Some ships began to repeat maneuvers they had already performed. "Captain," Palmer reported, "the aliens are showing signs of information overload. Their response time has increased by 40%. Rodriguez smiled grimly. "Then we're on the right track. All ships, maximum data transmission. Send them everything we have, real or fake." The human ships began broadcasting constantly. Battle reports, sensor readings, personal messages, even music and poetry. They filled the space around the alien fleet with information noise. Dr. Cole watched the battle from Earth and made connections his years of research had prepared him for. The aliens didn't just share information, they were forced to process all of it. Their collective consciousness couldn't ignore incoming data. "I think I know how to hurt them," he told Admiral Blake. "But we need the right kind of information, virus. Something that will spread through their network and corrupt their decision-making process." Blake nodded. "How long do you need?" Cole looked at his team. Turner and Santos were already working on his idea. "Give us 6 hours and access to every computer system on Earth." Outside, the alien main fleet was beginning to move toward Earth. The advance guard had won their battle, but it had taken them much longer than expected. More importantly, humanity had learned something valuable. The perfect enemy had a flaw. Their greatest strength could become their greatest weakness. Now the question was whether humanity had enough time to exploit that weakness before the main alien fleet arrived. The countdown continued, but for the first time since the aliens arrived, some humans began to believe they might have a chance. Dr. Nathan Cole stood before President Carter and Admiral Blake in the secure briefing room. His hands shook slightly as he prepared to reveal the secret he had kept for 3 years. "Madam President, what I'm about to tell you will change everything," Cole began. 3 years ago, a small alien probe crashed in the Pacific Ocean. We recovered it before anyone else knew it existed. President Carter leaned forward. "Why wasn't I told about this?" The previous administration classified it beyond top secret. Only 12 people knew about it. We've been studying the technology ever since. Cole activated a holographic display. Images of strange metal and crystal components appeared in the air. The probe was a scout, sent ahead of invasion fleets to study target worlds. It contained a complete database of how the hegemony operates. Admiral Blake studied the alien components. What did you learn? Dr. Alex Turner stepped forward to help. Explain. The hegemony's collective consciousness works like a massive computer network. Every member is connected to every other member. They share thoughts, memories, and decisions instantly. That makes them incredibly powerful, Cole continued. But it also makes them vulnerable. They can't filter information fast enough when the network gets overloaded. President Carter began to understand. You're saying we can attack their minds? Directly. Not attack, confuse, overwhelm, make their greatest strength turn against them. Cole showed them another display. It was covered with complex patterns and code. We've created what we call an information virus. It looks like normal battle data, but it's designed to multiply inside their network. Dr. Santos joined the briefing. When they process this false information, it creates more false information, like a chain reaction that spreads through their entire collective consciousness. Admiral Blake looked skeptical. This sounds too good to be true. If it's so simple, why hasn't anyone else defeated them? Because no other species thinks like humans do, Cole explained. Most advanced civilizations are logical and organized. They create neat, orderly data that the hegemony can process easily. Turner smiled. But humans are chaotic. We make mistakes. We contradict ourselves. We create random noise. Our messy thinking is exactly what their perfect system can't handle. Meanwhile, Captain Rodriguez floated in space in her escape pod. The Defiance had been destroyed, but she and a few crew members had survived. She watched as Earth's remaining ships regrouped near the moon. Commander Steve Palmer's voice came through her radio. Captain, we've received new orders, all surviving. Ships are to dock at Luna Station for equipment upgrades. Rodriguez looked at her small fleet. Only 23 ships remained from the original 47, but they had learned valuable lessons in the battle near Mars. At Luna Station, Chief Engineer Ryan Brooks worked with his team to modify the surviving ships. They were installing new broadcasting equipment based on Dr. Cole's research. Captain Rodriguez, Brooks explained as she came aboard the rebuilt destroyer Phoenix. These transmitters will flood the alien network with information noise. Real sensor data mixed with fake reports and impossible battle scenarios. Rodriguez studied the new equipment. Will it work? Dr. Cole thinks so. The aliens process everything. They receive. They can't ignore data even if it's wrong. If we give them enough contradictory information, their decision-making system should crash. Back on Earth, Dr. Cole's team worked around the clock to prepare their information weapon. They had access to every computer system on the planet. Military, databases, scientific research, entertainment networks, even social media feeds. We need to create the most chaotic, contradictory collection of information possible, Cole told his team. Battle reports that make no sense. Tactical data that contradicts itself. Fake ship positions and impossible weapon readings. Dr. Santos worked on one part of the virus. I'm programming it to learn from the aliens' own responses. Every time they try to process our false data, it creates more false data. Turner focused on another aspect. The beauty is that they can't just ignore our broadcasts. Their collective consciousness is designed to process all incoming information. It's hardwired into their biology. Lieutenant Commander Jake Morrison coordinated with Commander Palmer to prepare the final phase of Operation Chaos. Every remaining human ship would broadcast the information virus simultaneously. The timing has to be perfect, Morrison explained. We need to hit their entire fleet at once before they can adapt to what we're doing. Palmer nodded. Our ships are ready. The moment Dr. Cole gives the signal, we'll flood their network with everything we've got. Meanwhile, Captain Gary Foster and Commander Rachel Stone prepared the secret weapons that had been hidden in the civilian evacuation ships. These were modified mining charges and industrial equipment, all programmed with Dr. Cole's information virus. These aren't meant to destroy their ships, Stone explained to Foster. They're meant to get close enough to inject our virus directly into their communication systems. Foster looked at the strange devices. So we're not fighting with weapons, we're fighting with ideas. Exactly. Ideas that will make their perfect system tear itself apart. The alien main fleet continued its approach toward Earth. 300 massive ships moved in perfect formation. Their collective consciousness hummed with shared thoughts and unified purpose. But something was already wrong. The advance guard had returned with confusing reports about human tactics, random attacks that made no sense, data transmissions that contained impossible information. The Hegemony Collective tried to process this new information. For the first time in their conquest of 47 worlds, they encountered chaos they couldn't understand or organize. Dr. Cole made final preparations for the information attack. Remember, this has to look like desperate military communications. If they suspect it's a weapon, they might find a way to block it. His team had created thousands of fake battle reports, impossible sensor readings, and contradictory tactical assessments. All of it was wrapped in code that would make the alien collective consciousness process every piece of information multiple times. President Carter authorized the final phase of humanity's desperate plan. Dr. Cole, you have permission to execute Operation Chaos. God help us all. Admiral Blake coordinated with the remaining ship commanders. All vessels prepare to broadcast on my command. This is our last chance. Captain Rodriguez, now commanding the Phoenix, looked at her crew. They had fought bravely in the first battle. Now they would fight with weapons no one had ever used before. Crew, we're about to try something that's never been attempted in the history of warfare. We're going to attack the enemy's ability to think. The alien fleet entered Earth's defensive perimeter. Their sensors detected the small human fleet waiting for them. It looked like it would be an easy victory. They had no idea that humanity was about to turn their greatest strength into their greatest weakness. The perfect collective consciousness was about to meet the beautiful chaos of human thinking. Dr. Cole's finger hovered over the activation switch. 3 years of secret research had led to this moment. Either his information virus would work or humanity would fall to the hegemony like 47 other worlds before them. Execute Operation Chaos, Admiral Blake commanded. The final battle for Earth was about to begin. But this time humans would fight with their minds, not their weapons. And sometimes the most powerful weapon of all is a really good idea. The final battle began exactly as everyone expected. The alien superfleet moved toward Earth's small defender force like a giant wave about to crush a sandcastle. Captain Rodriguez watched from the bridge of the Phoenix as 300 enemy ships approached her 23 vessels. All ships begin broadcasting Operation Chaos on my mark, Rodriguez commanded. Her crew looked nervous but determined. They were about to try something no military force had ever attempted. The aliens fired first. Beams of red energy reached across space toward the human ships. The destroyer Mesa exploded instantly. 2 more ships lost their engines and began to drift helplessly. Now, Rodriguez shouted, execute Operation Chaos. Every remaining human ship began broadcasting at once. They sent thousands of fake battle reports, impossible sensor readings, and contradictory tactical data directly toward the alien fleet. At first, nothing seemed to happen. The alien ships continued their attack. Another human vessel, the cruiser, Atlanta, broke apart under enemy fire, but Dr. Cole watched his computers from Earth and saw something different. The information virus was spreading through the alien network like wildfire. Every fake report was being processed and shared among all 300 ships. It's working, he told Admiral Blake. Their collective consciousness is trying to analyze every piece of false data we're sending. The first sign of trouble appeared in the alien fleet formation. One ship turned slightly to the left, while its neighbor turned right. It was a small mistake, but the hegemony had never made formation errors before. Commander Steve Palmer noticed it from his ship. Captain Rodriguez, look at Section 7 of their fleet. Something's wrong with their coordination. Rodriguez studied her tactical display. The aliens were still winning the battle, but their movements looked less perfect than before. Some ships were repeating maneuvers they had already completed. Keep broadcasting, she ordered. Whatever we're doing, it's starting to work. On Earth, Dr. Santos monitored the virus as it spread through the alien network. Nathan, the multiplication effect is incredible. Every time they process one of our false reports, it creates 10 more false reports inside their system. Dr. Turner worked at another station. Their collective consciousness is treating our fake data as real intelligence. It's trying to make tactical decisions based on information that doesn't exist. The chaos began to accelerate. In the alien fleet, ships started receiving contradictory orders from their collective mind. One group was told to attack the human, left flank. Another group received orders to attack the right flank. A third group was commanded to retreat and regroup. The perfect coordination that had conquered 47 worlds began to fall apart. Captain Rodriguez saw her chance. All ships, full attack. Hit them while they're confused. The remaining human vessels charged toward the alien fleet. Their weapons were still weak compared to alien technology, but now they were fighting enemies who couldn't coordinate their defense. An alien ship tried to target the Phoenix, but received 3 different firing solutions from its collective consciousness. While it tried to choose between them, Rodriguez's missiles found their mark. For the first time in the war, human weapons penetrated alien shields. Direct hit, Palmer reported. Their shields are fluctuating because they can't decide which defense pattern to use. The information virus spread deeper into the alien network. 47 different conquered species had contributed their military knowledge to the hegemony collective. Now all of that knowledge was being corrupted by human chaos. Dr. Cole watched in amazement as his virus triggered a cascade failure. The aliens are receiving tactical advice from 47 different military traditions, all based on false information. Their collective mind is trying to process contradictory strategies from dozens of species simultaneously. Ships in the 18th alien fleet began to collide with each other. Some vessels fired at their own allies by mistake. Others executed impossible maneuvers that damaged their own hulls. Captain Gary Foster led a group of modified civilian ships toward the alien rearguard. His vessels looked helpless, but they carried the strongest transmitters Dr. Cole's team had built. "Commence final phase," Foster ordered. His ships broadcast the purest form of the information virus directly into the alien communication network. The effect was immediate and devastating. Entire sections of the alien fleet simply stopped moving. Their crews were paralyzed by conflicting neural commands from the collective consciousness. Commander Rachel Stone watched the alien response from her ship. "Gary, look at this. Some of their ships are trying to retreat while others are trying to attack. They're getting in each other's way." The collective consciousness that had been the hegemony's greatest strength was now tearing itself apart. Every ship was connected to every other ship, and they were all sharing the same corrupted information at the same time. Dr. Santos observed the cascade from Earth. It's like watching a computer virus destroy a network, but instead of crashing computers, it's crashing minds. Admiral Blake coordinated the human counterattack. Ships that had seemed doomed minutes before were now hunting confused alien vessels. The impossible was happening. Humanity was winning. Captain Rodriguez led the Phoenix through the chaos of the alien fleet. Enemy ships drifted helplessly around her, their crews unable to function. Some aliens were trying to break free from their collective consciousness for the first time in their lives. "Captain," Palmer reported, "we're receiving surrender signals from multiple alien vessels, but they're not coming from the collective. They're coming from individual crew members." Rodriguez understood. The information virus had broken the mental chains that held the conquered species together. For the first time in decades, aliens were thinking as individuals instead of as part of the collective. Lieutenant Commander Jake Morrison watched the battle end from Earth's command center. The alien superfleet that had seemed invincible was now scattered across space. Some ships fled the solar system. Others simply drifted powerlessly. Many approached Earth asking for help instead of demanding surrender. Dr. Cole stood beside Morrison and Admiral Blake as they watched the impossible victory. 47 species worth of military knowledge, all corrupted by human chaos. Their perfect system couldn't handle our beautiful randomness. President Carter joined them at the command center. "Dr. Cole, your team has saved not just Earth but possibly dozens of other worlds. The aliens who broke free are telling us about other hegemony fleets. Rodriguez docked the Phoenix at Luna Station 3 days later. Her ship was damaged, but victorious. The crew celebrated as they walked through the station corridors. They had done something no other species had ever accomplished. They had defeated the hegemony. But their celebration was mixed with preparation. The freed aliens warned that other hegemony fleets existed throughout the galaxy. Earth's victory would make humanity a target for revenge. Dr. Turner worked with the freed alien scientists to understand their technology better. The interesting thing is that most of these species were peaceful before the hegemony conquered them. They want to go home, not continue fighting. Admiral Blake met with the alien representatives in a historic first contact ceremony. The beings, who had once been humanity's enemies, were now asking to be allies. "You gave us back our individual thoughts," one former hegemony officer explained. "We had forgotten what it felt like to make our own decisions." Dr. Cole looked up at the stars. From his laboratory window, somewhere out there, other hegemony fleets were probably planning their response to Earth's victory. But humanity had something they didn't understand and couldn't counter. They had chaos. Beautiful, random, unpredictable human chaos. And sometimes that was the most powerful weapon in the universe.